This compelling video recounts a powerful tale of prejudice, resilience, and vindication. Here's a polished 1,000-word narrative that brings the story to life, crafted optimally for a YouTube article, without headings, flowing naturally yet rich in detail. When a distinguished figure approaches a bank with a staggering sum, $50 million, expectations run high, professional conduct, swift processing, and due respect. Such was the scene when the president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré, entered a local branch of a major financial institution, only to be confronted by a manager dripping with condescension and bigotry. The scene quickly spiraled into a shocking incident that would echo far beyond the marble floors of the bank. From the moment the president handed over the deposit instructions, tension hung thick in the air. Instead of the polite acknowledgement one might expect, the manager halted proceedings with a cold, dismissive remark, "We don't trust African money." Those words cut deeper than any financial rebuff, they stung with centuries of prejudice. Here was a head of state, a leader entrusted with the welfare of millions, being denied proper service solely because of the color of his skin and where his money originated. The immediate reaction within the branch was one of stunned silence. Staff and onlookers exchanged uneasy glances. The brazen racism seemed almost unfathomable in a setting built on order and discipline. But once outside the building, the magnitude of what had transpired began to sink in. It wasn't just a bank blunder, it was a symbolic assault on dignity. News of the incident spread like wildfire. Media outlets across the globe picked up the story. A bank manager's racist comment, aimed at a president, had gone viral. In a world increasingly intolerant of overt discrimination, public reaction was swift and fierce. Social media erupted with condemnation. Journalists and commentators lambasted the bank's leadership. Activists called for transparency, apologies, and accountability. Meanwhile, President Traoré remained composed. In a demonstration of his leadership, he refrained from retaliatory outrage. Instead, he summoned the bank's executives, reinforced by legal advisors and government officials, to demand not only an apology but also restitution. He sought recognition, not just of his personal hurt, but of the deeper wound inflicted on the people he represented. During closed-door negotiations, the bank issued a statement that ringed with remorse, albeit grudgingly. The manager was removed from his position, and the institution promised to undertake comprehensive anti-discrimination and sensitivity training. But more than that, Traoré pushed for a transformative gesture, not for himself, but for his nation. The tipping point came when the bank agreed to fund a groundbreaking development initiative, one that would benefit the citizens of Burkina Faso directly. The terms were ambitious: facilities for education, healthcare, and infrastructure, totaling billions of CFA francs, equivalent to around $14 billion. It was a gesture of redemption more powerful than mere words could ever be. The proposed investments spanned state-of-the-art classrooms equipped with digital tools to bridge educational gaps in rural communities, expanded healthcare centers offering free maternal care, vaccination drives, and public health outreach, infrastructure projects connecting remote regions to urban centers, paved roads, clean water systems, and market access. To many observers, the bank's commitment marked an extraordinary reversal. A transaction rooted in racism had inadvertently sparked a promise that could reshape the future of an entire country. Internationally, the narrative rapidly shifted. Coverage framed the episode not merely as a scandal but as a catalyst for progress. European and African news outlets portrayed the president as dignified yet decisive. Commentators highlighted how an affront transformed into opportunity. Human rights organizations applauded the development agreement, emphasizing that from the depths of discrimination, something profoundly positive had emerged. Within Burkina Faso, the response was overwhelmingly supportive. Citizens saw a leader capable of transforming adversity into advancement. Local media celebrated the president's diplomatic finesse. Community leaders lauded how a moment of rejection had become a beacon of hope. Across social channels, citizens posted messages like, "Rejected, but rise," and, "From racism to renewal," echoing a national mood of resilience. Beyond the headlines and public opinion, the discussions prompted by the incident reverberated internationally. Financial institutions were pressured to reevaluate their anti-bias policies. Training programs for cultural awareness gained traction. The global conversation shifted from passive denunciation to active prevention of racial bias. In a broader sense, the saga became a metaphor for the struggle against systemic prejudice. Traoré's handling of the situation exemplified moral fortitude. Met with insult, he responded not with vengeance but with vision. The bank's complicity in racism could have ended at punishment, but through his influence, it turned into constructive action. In the months that followed, early signs of the impact began to surface. Reports documented increased school enrollment in targeted regions, improved vaccination rates, and local commerce revitalizing due to better road access. While the statistics were still emerging, the trajectory was clear. What began as a humiliating incident had become a turning point in national development. Internationally, educators and policymakers studied the narrative as a case study in conflict resolution, leadership, and the economies of reparation. The story circulated not just in political circles, but in boardrooms, classrooms, and civic forums, invoking dialogue around institutional responsibility and transformative justice. Even the bank's global offices took note. Corporate leaders initiated cross-border talks to replicate the development model in other marginalized regions impacted by decision-making errors or cultural insensitivity. The notion that a financial institution could turn discriminatory failure into philanthropic progress gained momentum. Through it all, Ibrahim Traoré's reputation soared, not as a confrontational leader, but as one with the grace to transcend offense and leverage it for collective gain. He had turned a personal slight into national advancement, demonstrating that the best kind of leadership dissolves hate through healing. This story resonates deeply, precisely because it holds dual truths, that racism persists in modern institutions, and that it can be confronted, not only through condemnation, but through purposeful, enduring solutions. The $14 billion development commitment stands as a testament to the possibility of redemption, a metaphorical phoenix rising from the ashes of bigotry. In the end, it wasn't the rejection itself that defined the narrative, it was the response. The president's refusal to be diminished turned a moment of ignorance into a movement for empowerment. His vision transformed humiliation into hope, turning an isolated incident into a landmark of courage, commitment, and transformation.